Yeah, okay, now it's live.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Today, welcome to our Story Divers. We're covering the new book today called Think and Grow Rich. This is a very popular and famous book that has been read all over the world by many millions of people. And I'm thinking perhaps we can go a little bit faster because many of us have actually read, but I would like to actually meet those who actually come on live where they're at, and then we will actually respond based on the chapters that of interest, and the length of the discussion will be kept at pace in response to those who actually attend live with us. Right, Jara? What's your thoughts?
You mentioned that there's different editions for the book, right? So how different is mine from yours?
Uh, well, there are many prints over the years. I think the older versions, depending on which publisher, the commentaries are slightly different. Uh, and perhaps, the inserts of commentaries, the inserts of the those who actually wrote the forwards and all that will be slightly different. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Let me
how
just
is
invite
it
you.
different from mine and yours?
Not much different. The content still remains the same.
Not much difference. The title is the same, is it?
Yeah, it's the same.
Okay, then we can continue. I thought the titles would be very different.
So
Okay,
number one, we're going to talk about desire. Now, what do
can.
you
So
understand
then we
about
start with chapter
desire?
number one. Today we're going to cover four. Sorry?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, you were saying?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I can't hear. Just now what do you say? I can't hear.
We're going to start with chapter one. Chapter one is on desire.
Yeah, go ahead then.
Yeah, so my question was, what do you understand about desire and what does desire means to you?
Wow, I've never pondered this keyword in that definition. Do you have it?
Mm.
What does desire mean
Yeah,
to
of course.
me? It
Mm.
is something I want and that I want to
Okay.
achieve it,
Okay.
in short lah.
And okay. And how do you know that it is a desire and it is not, and it is a desire that is so burning that you know you want to go and achieve it, or it is just a momentary desire that will actually propel you to take certain actions momentarily for a short term period and then that's it? Which is which?
Sorry, you're very laggy. I can't really hear.
I see.
The
So,
internet is super laggy on
right.
my side.
Do you, hmm, so how do we do this? Do you want to log off and log in, or do you want to tap onto the data?
Can you continue while I try to connect another one?
Sure. So, as I reread this book, I've read this book a long time ago, and as I've started rereading it again, I realized that, you know, uh, just like everyone who actually appreciate this book, the take this time is very different. I think the last time I read it was more than 5 years ago. And as I reread it, I realized that the takeaways is slightly different. The understanding and the depth of which, how I actually interpret the words used to describe what each chapter means is slightly different. So as I read through, I ponder, thus the questions came up as how I actually asked you earlier on, Jara. What is desire and what does desire means to you? Okay. So, what is actually definite? What is not? Hope, wish, but a keen pulsating desire where we are willing to put all our energy, our power, our effort into that goal. Thus, the desire itself is the roadmap. And this is the definition in this book by Napoleon on the first chapter called Desire. So, for me, a desire is actually what is it that I want to actually achieve, and what is it that I wanted to achieve is the experience that I would like to have in this journey of life with certain group of people, with certain setting, which with certain achievement that I would like to achieve. And desire means a roadmap. A desire means something that I'll put my focus and energy, regardless of what others says. I will still do it. I will even do it at the expense of certain opportunity costs that even though I've identified, I will still go ahead with my desire. And I realized that along the way, as I move towards achieving my desire, there are a lot of disappointments, especially when it comes to dealing with people. Mm, but what my takeaways are, as the disappointment, so called disappointment, came up, I took it as a feedback that is very valuable to me, and I took it to myself to actually redesign the kind of boundaries that I should set. Although it's difficult, but it is something that I realized that instead of hoping or desiring for another person to walk the same or similar idea, or to actually understand and get to know where I'm coming from, I decided to just move on without explaining much. Mm. What about you? What's your takeaway from this chapter called Desire?
uh, at least from me, or rather from my definition of what desire is from this chapter, is at least there has to be a clear and burning, for lack of a better word, or alternative desire. I'm just still going to use desire. It is something that will start the motion or the force to drive towards what I want first and foremost. Because without it, right, I think there would not be any force that is strong enough for us to go and achieve.
Mm-hmm.
Whether we meet with disappointments, whether we meet with joy, whether we, uh, experience any accomplishments along the way, it's secondary.
Mm,
Because without this desire, right, everything else will not happen.
mm,
So that is what the gist of this first chapter is about.
mm,
Because to me, desire is something that is, I feel like, it's tied with clarity. This is also a very commonly used keyword that we keep talking about in our sharing, but a lot of them, I feel, hasn't really grasped what they really want in their own clarity. Not specifically what I want. I kind of know what I want, even though, sometimes it may not be very clear or definite, but at least, I can still continue to pick and make choices quite I wouldn't say effortlessly, but at least it's easy for me to, like, okay, I do want this for sure. Okay, I want this. Maybe let's try this out. Then to a majority of other people, I guess they haven't really thought about it until something happens and that makes them a little bit uncomfortable in their status quo. And then that's where they start to, want to seek answers, but it may not come as a very clear form or vision.
mm,
That, sometimes it also helps if they can, take reference from other people who are more definite in their desires, and then
mm,
from there they can also pick up some common shared experiences that they would also like to have in their own life. And
mm,
that's where I feel the complementing part of how we can work together despite disappointments can happen. Because to me, right, I also realized that humans are very complex, and I've really long given up, hoping that everybody should be expected to know. It's like, okay, you want, the choice is in your hands. If you think you want it, okay, we can try it. But if you don't, it's like you have your right to feel the way you want to feel, or go the way you want. But
Mm,
on the other hand, I also have my right to make my decision whether if it's worth to move on, or do something different, or come to an agreement that is a compromise. For example, most times it is not like it is a forced way of, um especially when it comes to relationship, it is a compromise. A lot of times it is
mm,
complementing, but
mm.
without setting clear boundaries, without setting clear communication of what we want, and also understanding of what the other person wants, we cannot make decisions to see how we can complement. So it is a very fine line, and can get really murky if both people are like, huh? And then it's just going to get murkier and murkier. Unfortunately lah. So to me, at least from my part, right, I will take responsibility in getting clearer and clearer and clearer. So at least if I know that this is not what I want, I can tell the other person straight away, no, it is not what I want. If you are not happy with it, either you have to work it out, or we can find different ways to work it out. Because if not, right, I compromise, you compromise, I compromise, you compromise. Where is the line going to be drawn? Where's the boundary?
I think to
This is
me,
what I call it's a non-negotiable lah, to put it simply.
because from my view is that it's not about compromise, it's about understanding where the other person coming from and find a way where collaborative effort and understanding of initiatives of what next can be done, it's is actually achievable and thus can be done. So
Yeah.
if, because the thing is that, and this is in line and with what Napoleon Hill actually wrote in this chapter, where he says that desire is actually a roadmap. A desire is actually the execution of a roadmap of which one actually put into action the hope, the wish, the keen, the pulsating drives or desire, where one will actually invest their energy, power, and effort into it. So for me, it's in line. I'm very clear. What is it that I desires, and I think there's another thing that Napoleon Hill shared in this chapter, which I think is very apt because it is a chapter or it is a book that talks about think and grow rich, and in this manner, the rich part, it's not exhaustive to just money, but it's also the energy, the mindset, the expression, and the understanding and the depth of knowledge towards one's own psyche and the type of mindset one needs to have, the type of actions and habits one needs to have, and also the knowledge of a specific industry or specific knowledge that one needs to have in its execution. So we can come to the knowledge later part where he actually split knowledge into two, general and specific, and it's a skillful execution that needs to come into place to actually exercise this desire. But first, in this chapter, after defining the desire, he actually spoke about the 6 ways to turn desires into goal. All right. So, would you like to share the 6 ways, Jara?
I don't know whether my let me check my book. I think I
Okay, let
think
me
the
share
layout
that. You can share your
different, yeah.
thoughts. Number one is to fix your mind in the exact amount of money you desire. So for me, I will replace it with goal. And then what goal is it that I'm truly desirable? Okay. Number two is determine the exactly what you intend to give in return for the money or the goal you desire. Number three, establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money or desire. And then number four, create a definite plan for the desire, begin at once and put it into action. Number five, write a clear, consistent statement of steps which you actually identify in detail, 1 to 4, and plan and to actually accumulate it and to plan ahead to the execution for its fruition. to come to place. And then read the written statement aloud like 2 times a day. So those are the 6 steps. And that
Okay,
concludes my
definitely my book is different because it didn't put it into this 6 chapters. It's like paragraphs and paragraphs of different
yeah,
anecdotes and
it is also
information.
paragraphs, but I actually streamline it to six.
Oh, so they
I
didn't actually put it six,
actually
right?
actually summarized it into six.
Okay.
Mm.
Mine doesn't look even remotely like what you just said.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely a different version, even though the chapters are the same. But I
So
can share
I
what I
think
highlighted as we go along. So I think it
because
still works because they have revised versions, and I guess mine is like a revised version from somebody who took the original and maybe a slight difference in translation.
the sixth method is actually described as such. Let me read it to you. First, fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. It is not sufficient merely to say, I want plenty of money, but definite as to the amount. There is a psychological reason for definiteness, which will be described in the subsequent chapter. This is in page 46. One, it says here first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, continuous to page 47.
Doesn't matter, you can continue because it's definitely different from mine.
Do you see page 43?
No, it's a different book. It's a different layout.
I'm reading from the book that you shared with me.
Mine is a blue cover.
Yes,
It's the same book.
yes, I'm reading from the same, so there's no confusion.
46. Okay, wait. Then my tablet size and your tablet size could likely be different. Wait.
Okay, then try go to chapter one, the third, the fourth page, where there's a bold first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth.
Okay, okay. I found it, found it. Wow, it's so weird. Wait, the layout is first, second, third. That one, right? Okay, okay. Fine.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's a. I was in on a different page. Fix in your mind the exact amount of money. That one, right? Okay, got it.
Yeah. So for me, it's instead of money, what richness means to you. So for those who actually play cryptocurrency, it will be the currency in crypto. Those who are actually talking about asset, it will be the assets. Those who are talking about desire, the goals and all, it will be the desires and goals as well. All right, it's not just limited to money. Money is something that he used very exponentially because of the title itself called Think and Grow Rich. And during his time, it's all about richness means money, when the accumulation of money, assets, and authority and power and standing in the society. So that's why I actually took it a little bit towards money, goal, okay, a desired outcomes that is burning, and thus the action plans towards it. Mm. All right, let's move on to chapter two. But before that, do you have anything to add on?
Moving on to chapter 2 already. Okay, interesting because I did highlight some
Yes.
points.
Why don't
Let
you
me
share
see
your
what
the
I want
points you
to
highlighted?
highlight. Wait, okay, so what I actually resonated is the change. Okay, so I highlighted this changed world requires practical dreamers who can and will put their dreams into action, which
Mm,
I feel like is not really what is written on the title of the book, which I'm also glad because it feels more tangible in that sense. So it's not so obscure because the title say think and grow rich. Before I read the book, actually this is my first time reading the book. When I saw the title, I was like, seriously, you mean you can think and then you grow rich? But then of course when I started to read, right, it's like he's very practical. He is also um sharing or teaching in a manner where it has to be very clear, very definite, very persistent, and the steps has to be followed like as religiously or as routinely as or as disciplined as anyone can. So what I'm actually uh surprised to read, right, is something that he mentioned about Columbus dreamed of an unknown world, staked his
Mm,
life on the existence of such a world, and discovered it. So
mm.
it is a possibility that if you would want something that is not already existing, as long as you persist and believe, and according to Columbus, he staked his life on it, it will and it can happen and it can be created. And the next line he actually bold, or rather put it in caps, is success requires no apologies, failure permits no alibis. So
Mm.
the keywords that he used are actually very strong. So when I actually shared from my definition of the desire and what it means to me when you ask me, right, I said to achieve it, right, according to him, right, he wants to possess it. So it's a very strong keyword in relation to what he defines as desires. And then after that, right, it's this sentence I feel like I would like to expand upon it from contents perspective, but this is the sentence that I highlighted. There is a difference between wishing for a thing and being ready to receive it. So when I actually read it, right, it felt like it hit a very um, important point, because a lot of people just think, but they haven't realized that thinking is not the same as being ready to receive it.
Ah, yes. Let's elaborate more on that in chapter three.
Okay. Yeah. So when I read this, I was like, yeah, I got inspired and I actually prepared a content to post it on my social media. But yeah, this is something that is very on point.
Mhm.
And after that, I didn't highlight anything. And I think we can go on to chapter two, which is faith.
Yeah. So why I like this book very much, because I'm somebody who actually look at things from different lenses, and I have functioned for many years where money is not my main majority, although it's very important to me. Um, what I realize is that, and what I actually appreciate is that his emphasis is not just money alone; it's the goal. And the goal will not be achieved, as he emphasized very much, without the mindset, without the actions, without the clarity of what is it that you want to achieve, without you investing your whole belief system, which means going all out in simple manner, going all out towards what you desire, means what you actually believed to want to experience and want to achieve in your life. So it talks a lot about the mindset. It talks a lot on the psychological part, where how we can actually prepare ourselves, how we can actually move along in life to go achieve what we want to achieve. And all this, as described by him, from his findings from all this rich and change maker during the time, is that it has to begin with desire. It has to begin with burning desire. It is the desire that drives, it is the desire that sustains, it is the desires that allows one to find the meaning and purpose of life, and the motivation behind why one drives the life and live the life one's one. Through the achievement of milestone goals, through the achievement of what one defines success to be. Mm. So, moving on, if you do not have anything to add, let's go to chapter 2, which talks about faith. And for this version of book, they like to actually write a small, uh, short, not small, but short sentences below the chapter. And this is what it says: visualization and belief in the attainment of desire is the second steps of richness or riches. So, which means to say, visualization and belief is utmost important as faith to the attainment of desire. So, behind desire, you need to have this thing called faith. And this thing, faith, is actually built up from the visualization and the belief that one's already have, or have yet, or will actually build towards having it sustain the desire that we spoke about earlier on. towards having us look into the desire that we would want to see it from the lens, is this really, really something that I want and I want to work towards? Yeah. So faith is the head chemist of the mind. When faith is blended with vibration of thought, the subconscious mind instantly picks up the vibration and translates it into a spiritual equivalent and transmits it to infinite intelligence as the case of a prayer. So what it means here in a very layman term is that once you have this thing called desire, the faith is the backing phenomena that is actually uh, or can be done through visualization, where it actually vibrates the thoughts towards having the faith support the desire of one's goal. Or, in other words, if you really desire about something, you need to believe in it. And to believe in it, what you can do is actually you can visualize it. And that is all about chapter 2 on faith, simply. But of course, here, he will actually deep dive into the content specific, into the specifics of which details what the title is about. In this chapter is faith towards think and grow rich. What's your thoughts? What do you share, Shara?
I'm looking at what actually resonated, so I'm looking for
Mm,
my highlights. It is a very simple read, but at the same time, the way he describes is not just in the tangible monetary form as what we are now familiar with, because he
mm-hmm,
mentioned about unconscious and infinite intelligence. This is not something that any normal people will be able to understand. But once you understand first and then you experience it, only will you have that
mm,
realization on how to further cultivate it and extract this. I'm going
mm-hmm,
to use the word power to achieve what you want in life,
mm,
desires. And
mm.
I don't even know how to start describing because I think I
Because
get it. I'm cultivating it, but it's not strong enough. So it's like there's a lot of things that I'm still figuring out, learning. So when I read this book, right, it was like it confirmed what I experienced because it's definitely not a coincidence. This book existed years before, and I'm just only born years after, like many years after, and I don't read history, and I've never understood what exactly goes on in the human mind, only maybe, whenever necessary and applicable. So all the unknown experiences until it's been put into words now has been like on hindsight, I realized, oh, this is what I experienced, and this is exactly what it meant.
mm-hmm.
So
And
the the spirit, like, okay, infinite intelligence is something that is very fascinating, but I don't know how to describe it. And he did mention that
info.
love and faith are psychic, related to the spiritual side of humanity. And this is something that I feel like humanity does not have enough of. That's why I say I don't know how to explain it, because even if we explain it, right, I don't think anybody will really get it. Even I am also trying to uh figure it out in a way that it's making sense.
Infinite intelligence, it's infinite, uh, how to say, it means to say that intelligence is infinite, that's all.
Yes.
And it
Uh-huh.
also means to say that it also means to say that faith is the catalyst towards us bridging and breaking through the frames that we already have, the limitation, the cap that we already have. In other words, limiting decision, limiting beliefs, that we actually contextualize certain things to be in the form of it is. But with faith, through prayers, as he described as one of the example, is that infinite intelligence allows us to actually surpass a lot of intelligence that we thought are intelligence and define it to be as context relevant at any point in time, which means to say intelligence is infinite. And every human has this infinite intelligence ability to actually tap on it. Imagine we want infinite intelligence,
Exactly.
and
This is the part that
yeah,
I'm
and then
fascinated with
imagine,
explaining.
yeah, imagine the whole world is another infinite intelligence. So this infinite intelligence that we have, that is with limitless capacity, once we tap on the infinite intelligence of the broader sense, you know, that is limitless. Means to say, whatever that is out there that we don't know, are the infinite intelligence itself.
Yes, I understand. I know what you mean. But the thing is, it is something that is unseen, right? And that's why it's very hard to grasp because every experience will be very personal until
So it's very
we pick
simple.
something up that is not a coincidence. Then only will we be in awe of how come it actually happened without us even talking about it. And I think that's one of the ways to have evidence of infinite intelligence in the bigger sense
I give you an
that
example, Anna.
anybody can tap into, that is a serendipity or a synchronistic moment.
I give you an example, Anna. That every day you're tapping into infinite intelligence as an infinite intelligence individuals. You want it? Say yes if you want it.
Yeah, yes.
Who am
You
I
mean you
doing?
say I already tap it, or then how come you just say yes? You're
You
telling me
see,
I'm
if
already
you
tap it, or
no,
you're
no, no.
asking me if I want to tap in.
No, I'm asking you if you want to know the example that I can actually quote to you, that every one of us are actually experiencing this infinite intelligence, stepping into the infinite intelligence through who we are as an infinite intelligence with the broader infinite intelligence around us in the
And you
environment.
don't keep repeating the keyword because it's very confusing.
It's not confusing. I give you an example now. It's a very, very simple one. Everything about this world, the only thing that is constant is change, right?
Mm,
Am I correct?
mm.
So if let's say we always have capacity that we can actually tap on and grow, and if we actually work on it, and we find that there are resources out there for us to grow this ability, isn't that evolutionary?
Yeah, but not everybody will think like that. I personally think like that. It's like I don't know, but I don't need to know everything, but I have the resources to get it done. And I thought this would be something that is very common until I realized it's not common. And then I realized, oh, so this is my superpower, that kind of realization.
Yeah, I can break it down to one small sentence. Do you believe that every day you can discover something new?
Yes.
And that's infinite intelligence itself.
You
It's
know
as
how
simple as that.
those people are routine creatures. They eat the
Sorry?
same thing every day. They eat the same thing every day. They have to have their routine every day. Then
Mhm.
how? Would they be missing out on tapping on infinite intelligence then,
They
in a
are
way?
not missing out, they are just not conscious or aware.
So they have already been absorbing, just that not consciously.
Yeah, because even though they do the same routine again and again, okay, even though it may be the same, it's just like an
Mm.
artist refining its art, right? They are doing the same thing again and again, again and again and again and again as they refine their art, their skill set. Aren't they already growing? Aren't they already progressing? As they progress, isn't that tapping into infinite intelligence already?
I don't know. I hope so.
I give you an example. If you practice
The only
writing,
reason we actually want to raise it is because we are also talking about human intelligence before we talk about infinite intelligence. So we're building a baby step before
yes,
this higher intelligence. So
correct.
I personally am already aware and also working
Mm.
towards that myself, not just for anybody else that I want to like share it towards. But at the same time, right, it's also not a very obviously thing.
Imagine
Apparently.
infinite. Imagine infinite intelligence is the buffet of all intelligence. Now imagine human intelligence that every one of us actually have, and if you don't tap on it, you will not be able to step into this buffet of intelligence. But if you're able to tap and reckon with the human intelligence that you are, and then take steps to work towards tapping into the type of infinite intelligence that's already there, like a buffet for you. So it's like you walk into a buffet restaurant, okay? If you don't know what you want, you can try every other things and you still experience this infinite intelligence. If you know what you want, you pick and choose, you can actually creatively put your plating and have and enjoy the buffet as a feast, as a, I don't know, a very demure, high class way of having it, putting the plating nicely and how you want to eat it. However,
That's
you do
nice already. So okay, so
you
initially
are
you
the,
experience buffet, but after that you upgrade into fine dining.
and the upgrading and the process of the connection between you attending and having the buffet is the human intelligence execution.
Okay, so the human intelligence is the execution, the action.
It's the conscious awareness of who they are in the execution and expression of who they are.
Okay, okay, that's starting to make sense.
Okay, it's very, very simple. It's as simple as that. It's our daily activities. But when we want to actually put it like, intelligently in an academic way or intelligently in a conscious way, that's where the complication comes in. But since we are on this book, we tap into the wordings and the keywords that's being used because Napoleon Hill actually studied, and Napoleon Hill is somebody who is a scholar who actually have precision of language with the
Yeah,
keywords that he used and the proper choice of words that he used. So the
yeah.
building up of what intellectuals are actually building upon in defining things and repurpose and also expand on the knowledge specific towards the contents that of their studies are from people like Napoleon Hill who actually came up with all these keywords and findings at the first place. So it's always a building up and a layering up of the knowledge that has been found. So
And
yes, it's
moving
infinite intelligence.
into, is he a scientist? Is he a psychologist? Is he
If
a
I
like
don't use the circular world of if I don't use the circular world of labeling, I would say that this guy is brilliant. He's so brilliant and intelligent
yeah?
that he is willing to go and implement what he actually believes. All right. And he's humble enough to allow life and people around him to teach him what he doesn't know, although his level of understanding towards a lot of things is surpassing a lot of people. We can actually live on and see this as he explained about his son. Okay. He has so much faith that his son is normal, and he's so much faith to actually translate that faith into his son using the infinite intelligence available out there, knowing that there will be resourcefulness by tapping into the faith. And in his version, he used it as in the case of a prayer, in the case of belief system, in the case of he
Auto
trusted.
suggestion.
Yeah, that is the next chapter. So with that, what happened is that he
No, faith
actually
is auto suggestion is in this chapter.
he will actually, yes, it is the principle of auto suggestion.
Mm.
Yeah. So he actually, framed that actually auto suggestion is hypnotherapy. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
so
Okay.
so
Hmm.
so it is yeah. So when he does that, think about his son. Yeah, think about his son.
This one has a
This is
hearing
Yeah,
disability.
he actually experimented with his son, and see how his son has actually progressed. See how his son has actually, earnestly believed that this is normal. No, if you don't categorize something into abnormal, in their world it's normal because that's their resonance, and they will find and they will have the resourcefulness to actually know how to actually communicate, know how to express themselves, know how to function properly, as long as you don't actually push down your limitation, okay, or your understanding, shove it down to the kid. No, but you allow the kid to actually grow, and you believe from the extent that this kid is always normal. And just see how his son turned out. He's willing to experiment on his son and humbly learn from the son's growing up. It hurts him. It actually, challenges him a lot because his intellectual says that no, it's not. Study shows that he can't, he won't. But
Yeah, so it's also not
experience,
easy for him to embrace the scientific logic versus the thing or the faith that he believes that his son can be normal,
mhm.
even though the son is not in the norm sense.
Yeah. So who here who has actually read and or who have not read, I would like to actually suggest one thing and let it be an auto suggestion. Let it be an auto suggestion. Now, although Napoleon Hill stresses a lot about money, you can come straightforwardly as money, read in between the lines what he's trying to actually
Yeah,
share.
there's a lot of between the
Yeah.
lines, yes.
It is not about just the money. The money is the outcome that actually explain and actually give a method to those who actually want to actually achieve witness. Because frankly, without money as the currency exchange, it's very hard for one to actually plow through in life. It's bread and butter issue. So if you were to talk about money as the milestone, as an indicator of where you are, benchmarking you in terms of your success and how you have grown as an individual in your life, if you were to read in between the lines, it's not all just money. That's why I mentioned earlier on the desire where he talks about money, we can actually replace it to goal or replace it with goal. You can replace it to asset specific. You can replace it to any desired outcomes that you wish to actually achieve. Now we have six broad categories. Of course, there are more. Some elaborators or in the personal development space says that there are 12 category of life. There are even the 13th category of life comes about for those who actually have partners. But broadly, if you were to narrow it down and still general enough to cover every aspects of our life, is just the six areas of life. And they are the personal development, they are the health, they are the wealth, they are the family and relationship, the social and cultural, where we actually stays in, and also the spiritual part. And if you were to read properly, it actually covers all of such area in this entire book. Yeah. And what he actually focused
I
on,
haven't finished reading, but okay.
yeah. So what he actually focused on is actually wealth. And through this wealth focus as a goal, as the main goal, he elevated the other areas of life as well. But his execution is spiritual. His execution is through his burning desire with an outline of plans and strategic execution through his understanding. Because he's a very brilliant, intelligent man who will go about in understanding the different aspects, understanding the different perspective and execution by each and different individuals, and then after which put it together and see it as it is, and also see it from the lens of intellectual and academician, and also see it just as a man sees life as it is. So it's very. This is one of the books that should be in every household's bookshelf, and it is something that it is one of the books that you can go to whenever you feel stuck. And when you are stuck and you read this book, you will realize how much limiting decision, limiting beliefs that you have. And when
Read
you
in
are
between
there,
the lines because the nuance is the
yeah.
part by part, the details. If you read
So
it
when you
generic, probably won't be able to catch it.
Yeah, correct. So when you notice that, ask yourself what you want to do with with the limiting beliefs and limiting decisions, and what is it that you want to do with the emotions that faces, especially negative emotions. Truth to be told, the only person who really knows where you're at is yourself, and the indicators are the emotions. Hmm. So emotions can either hurt or it can actually serve. But whether it is hurting or whether it is serving, it presents to you the free will to decide what you want to do with it for your life. Please
Mm.
elaborate more what you have actually highlighted in this chapter.
Yeah, I found my highlight in this chapter.
Okay, good.
The resolve to throw off the influences of any unfortunate environment you may have grown up in or now find yourself living in, and to build your own life to order. So, simply put, is we may not be growing up in an ideal or rich family. Not every family is like, wow, smooth sailing, right? So what he's saying is you can decide and resolve to break out of these, uh, if it's limiting environment, that you can choose to build your life in your own order that helps you to get out or
Mm,
grow up towards.
mm,
So the paragraph why I actually highlighted it is, there's really no reason why you can't change something that you don't like, instead of leaving it to fate, as what people often also like to say, even though this chapter is called faith. It's different lah, but and it just reminds me of how I figure things out in a way where, if it's something I don't like, as what you mentioned, like, you kind of have to know yourself well enough to know what is it that you can do or cannot do or decide not to do, to keep moving towards your desires. So for me, most of the time, it's like I don't believe I cannot do it, so I will try to do it. And if I find that there's a certain result, and if I really like it enough, I will continue on and on and on and on. But
mm.
if I don't like it enough, I probably wouldn't even start.
So your liking and not liking is the desires, part of the
Yeah,
desire.
correct, correct. So that's the knowing yourself well enough to know what uh rocks your boat, or keeps you excited, or wants to go down the rabbit hole, even though you may not be familiar with that specific topic.
Mm. I think I would like to actually bring this up since I'm actually in this personal development space. When you say having faith, right, is having faith towards the execution and expression of who you are towards the specific goal that you actually have. And it shouldn't be an expectation of how others going to behave towards you. All right. If you pin that down, you realize that you suffer a lot because everyone will actually function to the best of ability as who they are. But if you're going to pin the results, okay, towards how other people is going to react to you, how people is going to appreciate you, it's not going to be serving because, frankly, your free will is only for yourself. Your free will is not to be exercised upon others, and it's not towards getting others to go in line as who you are. I know that when we read Sun Tzu Bin Hua or the Sun Tzu Art of War and all that, the strategic execution can actually embody for a certain propaganda to be dialed down to every other level of human intelligence, thus getting them to actually function in the manner that you wish to. But the thing is that you want to ask yourself in what role and what context are you actually putting this into, your faith into the outcome into which that will actually define the kind of experience that you want to experience in this life. Tapping on what Jara mentioned about clarity, yes, it's very important on the clarity. But the clarity is the clarity of what is it that you want to achieve and what is it that you want to experience in life and how do you want to execute and set investment. What is it that you're willing to give up, okay, towards achieving this goal, this intention, this desired outcome that you want. So be cautious. Remember, no harm to yourself, no harm to others, the society, and the planet, and let it be something of earnest, insightful, intellectual intelligence, all right, that you are exercising for using your free will for your own good and the good of others who are actually around you. That's what I want to caution. So if let's say you have someone whom you love, don't put a cast or spell on that someone to love you, because the thing is that the real love is about us being able to bless the person towards the wrote of the happiness that they choose and the love, the type of love that they want to live their life in. So bless them in that journey. Love shouldn't be possessive. Love should be blessing. Okay, so this is something that as I read, as I get questions, as people start to actually ponder and wonder and suffer, and all of which where hinders them towards achieving what they really want is the expectation of them wanting to live the kind of divine love that they want with another person. Um, know that this should be for yourself. Know that this should be from the space of abundance and not from the possessive part. Yeah. Okay. That's my sharing for this chapter. You want to continue? What else you highlight or highlighted?
I mean, so just now, as I said, right, highlighted the resolve the 12 influences of any unfortunate environment you may have grown up in. How do you get out of this handicap can be surmounted and timidity translated into courage through the aid of the principle of auto-suggestion.
Yes, please
So,
share the auto suggestions with our listeners.
I mean, I didn't specifically highlight that part of how this auto-suggestion can help
Mhm.
so that our listeners can understand,
Mm.
but it is something about rather one of the headers that he actually mentioned is called the self-confidence formula.
Oh yes, please share
I
that.
guess it's part of the auto suggestion step
Mm.
by step,
Mm.
which he named it the self-confidence formula, right?
Yep.
First, I know I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life, or rather, I put it simply, desires. Therefore, I demand myself persistent, continuous action towards its attainment. So, it is something that you talk to yourself or tell yourself internally, like demand yourself to follow this formula so that this is considered the auto suggestion framework that you will be able to achieve your success or your desires.
Mm.
So in this self-confidence formula, secondly, what, don't tell me I have to read all the paragraph. It's quite
No, just a summary, a one-liner or a word on each of the formula.
first,
Each
I don't
of
have
the
the ability to achieve the object of your desires. Second, I realized that the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward physical action and transform themselves into physical reality, which means thoughts to reality.
okay.
So he mentioned about this step, right, is concentrate your thoughts for 30 minutes daily. So that is the suggested or recommended time frame on the task of thinking of the person you intend to become.
Okay.
So in your mind, you have a clear mental picture of that person. So at least for starters, if you don't know what keywords to put to this ideal person that you want to become, at least have a vision of who that person that is you can look like. Third, through the principle of this auto suggestion, right? Any desire that you persistently hold in my mind will eventually seek expression through practical means of attaining the object. So it's
Continue.
very interesting because self-confidence is one of the driving force towards attaining your desires. And if let's say you don't have this confidence, how are then? Because
You
every
don't.
time you suggest and direct yourself, right, you will counter it with doubts of your own. So how do you actually do not sabotage yourself? Because self-sabotage is also one of
Oh,
the that can happen and is real.
if you were to ask me, the first step is to find a clarity coach.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that makes sense. Because you need a third party to whip your ass or poke you or pull you so that you are not falling back, doubting yourself, sabotaging, putting a stone in front of you when you want to go to the front, you block your own path. So I guess that is unavoidable.
Yeah. No, I mean to have shortcut is to get someone who's trained and who's able to guide
Yeah.
you. That is the
Yeah.
fastest way. The other ways will be going through the personal development books or personal development materials to help you get clarity. Okay, what are those, like reading, going through to coaching pod, cell groups, to talking to
Mastermind. He mentioned
individuals,
mastermind. I've been
mentors,
talking about masterminds for a while also,
yeah,
right?
masterminds and all that. But then again, you want to understand that sometimes when you go to all these sources on your own, they can be very general. So
Yeah.
as general as they are, you will still fall back to your own interpretation, which is the interpretation that blocked your self-confidence in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's
if you
why it's
get,
like catch 22.
yeah, there's a catch also, even if you go to a coach. If you don't believe in a coach and you still, all right, I believe in my coach and I do what I want to do, but you don't fully subscribe to what you are doing and you want to self-sabotage, then make sure that the coach has intervention techniques that can help you and you communicate across that so that the coach knows what to do. Because the thing is, the only help is self-help. The only help out there is self-help, which means to say if you want to have self-confidence, you need to be able to do the work and do the reflective work, and also by doing the work, having the results coming to you, then you will see where you are at. Because you see, change work is like that. If you don't have self-confidence and you want to have self-confidence, that's change work. And change would happen this way. Number one, you need to do intervention, okay, to allow for the concept, the mindset, the faith, the belief system to actually come to fruition in your definition of what it is to boost your self confidence. Number two and number three is what? Number two and number three is for you to take action to set the kind of resonance and boundaries, and for you to continuously take action to find the evidence to experience for yourself the type of confidence that you can embody as yourself. The first one is to seeking compass, to seeking the structure, the process, the framework, to seeking the guidance. That is the first one. That's where the coaches can come in, mentors can come in, teachers can come in, your bro who is smarter than you and know how to manage and handle you professionally, for you, and not get into the whole drama or and everything. That's important. So if you have
Let's
sister, no brother is also the same. And sister sometimes is even much more emo, all right, because the dynamics of the human anatomy allows for those with yin energy, usually women, to be much more sensitive. But if you are able to resonate and see all this sensitivity as feedback, you will be able to lead further, especially for women out there, because you know this sensitivity and you're able to identify it so exponentially. You can actually use it as a resource for your leap as a human, as an individual, and for your cultivation as well. Because men is like sometimes, or those who are oblivious, I'm not talking about gender, I'm talking about those who are possessing more of the non-sensitivity. Everything is also okay lah, never mind, it's okay. But they are on the flip side, those who are everything is also not okay and very emotional towards it. So when whichever dynamics that you come from, you need to be aware to find the middle range and then look for the best solutions. So get uh get yourself to be involved and get yourself to know people who are able to show you the way. There will always be people who are able to show you the path, show you the way, because the way of life, although is very unique to each individual, but whatever that life and lifestyle and things that we're actually encountering today, the concepts of how we think and all that, it's an inheritance from many generations, many centuries ago of intelligence, the infinite intelligence of our forefathers.
Mm.
Right? So human intelligence is stepping into your ability to actually tap onto the limitless or the infinite intelligence out there, and skillful execution is needed. So, if you want to boost your self confidence, find the right environment, find the right people. Okay. And then number one, demand for self persistent continuous action. It means that to also put yourself in an environment that allows you to do so. Find your cheerleaders, find your support, find the environment that serves you to actually build the kind of self confidence. Number two, it's the principle of auto suggestion. If you're in such environment, if you're with people who are your cheerleader, you will have the auto suggestion externally and internally as you actually put in the work. For example, concentrate 30 minutes of your daily task thinking about what is it that you want to achieve and how you want to achieve that. Okay. Number three, it's about seeking expression means taking action. That's all. Okay. Number four is to journal. So clearly written down description of my definite chief aim in life means having a journal, having a goal book, having a success story book, journal about it. The fifth is that to realize that no wealth or position can long endure unless it's built upon truth and justice means to know your character, to be ecological and not at the expense of others as you work towards your desired outcomes and goals. When you have that principle in you, the self confidence is very clean. The self confidence is very earnest. The self confidence comes with no guilt. The self confidence comes with the infinite determination that I've done it right, I've done it well because of my earnest execution and my sincere execution, the path that I took towards it. Okay, and the sixth is you will make an agreement with yourself towards the self confidence, the embodiment of the version of self confidence that you are. That's all. That's one to six, and that's the formula. It's as simple as that.
I think number four, there is a gist that you didn't mention, but I want to highlight. It's never stop trying. It's actually action oriented. It is not
Yeah,
just journaling. It's not just writing down. It is actually putting it into action, trying it in variations towards the desires until it clicked.
exactly. So as you continue to journal, as you continue to move on, as you continue to take action, don't stop. Never give up. Resilience have to come into place. Not giving up has to come into place. That's faith. That's why this topic is about faith, or this chapter
Yeah,
is about
correct.
faith.
That's faith.
So having faith
Yes.
on friends and individuals sometimes is very challenging, especially if you're going through the phase where you don't reckon with things are going well with you. But that's why I mentioned about the environment. If you're with the environment that supports and you're with people who are your cheerleader, make sure you find people who cheers you up, okay, not beat you down even further. You feel even more lousy. All right. So get people who are able to cheer you up, get people who are able to remind you the essence of who you are instead of tearing you down all the time. I mean, these people who tear you down is also good because they will actually bring out the nakedness of your approach to become the best self. But sometimes, when you are too beaten down, you want something to be able to lift you up and find those individuals who are able to lift you up because there needs to be a balance. Too much of which may not be serving. So you want to be able to find a balance. When you're feeling very sad, sometimes words of encouragement do help, uh, or sometimes just a silent listening ears, being understanding will help. Sometimes when you're very angry, a someone who are actually able to actually talk it out and brainstorm with you in the loud and aggressive manner may work. So it's very individual. Find your resonance, find the type of expression that it's of your is what suits your personality. Okay, so find that kind of be a human, connect, and human is easier to actually support or sabotage. So be mindful of finding the right people, especially if you can't escape the environment. For those office workers, sometimes the working environment may not be conducive, but what you can do is to find the right people in your life to encourage you, to support you, to remind you, to also brainstorm with you, to also seek mentorship from Yeah, so find that few people. It could be embodied by one person, but if you can find a little bit more, that would be great. Because not every time this person is available for you anyway. Yeah, yeah. So do that. So you can, if you find a coach, you have somebody who's probably trained. Okay, find a trained coach to actually help you throughout the journey. How do you know you found a good coach? Is when the coach is there, so present, and the only agenda in the coach um, time with you is you as the priority, helping you. Okay, and that will fast track. Okay, a coach and a mentor is very different. A coach is direct, hold space. A mentor may not hold space. They'll just tell you bluntly, and you go and bang yourself to the wall, and cry on your own and all that. Some mentors does that for you to actually go through the journey and experience yourself, and find the resource in you to stand up again. So every mentors are also very different. Um, so really, really have clarity and be very resolute and determined, especially if you don't have self confidence, to gain back the self confidence that you have lost. It is always with you. If self confidence had not been in you before, you will not be seeking for it because it will be foreign to you and you want to reckon with it. But because you once have that confidence in you, what you want to do is to tap into it again and find all evidence, all confirmation that you have that in you and anchor on that. That is all we are doing actually, finding back the self confidence. This is answering the questions that you asked earlier. Okay, we are on the second chapter and we are already 10 o'clock. Do we want to continue or we want to
Hmm?
continue next
So what?
week?
Doing 3 chapters then?
Do we want to complete the other two chapters quickly, or do we want to actually discuss about these two chapters next week or the next
So
session?
wait, okay, for this chapter, right, the only other sentence I highlighted is earn the right to profit sharing.
Mm. That's for the business sense, yes, correct. So earn the right to be who you are by receiving the values and also giving the values to whatever settings that you're in. So what I'm doing is actually I'm broadening the context of what Napoleon Hill actually talks about, which is focus on success factor and monetary as the milestone or the matrix to actually calculate where you're at. Okay, any more that you highlight or highlighted?
No, for this chapter, that's all.
Okay, let's go to auto suggestion, which is chapter 3.
Okay. So today we just do 3 chapters.
All right then.
Auto
Let's go.
suggestion.
Mm.
The medium for influencing the subconscious mind. Wow, this
Now
one
you know
not
why
my
I say
forte.
hypnotherapy.
You better do that more of the explanation.
That's why I say it is hypnotherapy.
I'm also not very familiar with that. So maybe you can enlighten us.
Auto-suggestion is the medium of influencing the subconscious mind. So auto-suggestion, it's the tools, the techniques, the intervention that actually brings about the resonance of what you want to achieve so that your subconscious mind will actually, acknowledge it fully and allow and reorganize your entire ecosystem towards believing in it. Auto suggestion comes about is because you don't believe into something or you don't fully subscribe to something, then you want to lean into auto suggestion so you can actually change your personality or your understanding of mindset fully to embodying the suggestion. All right. So you can use by chanting it, saying it again and again, again and again. Okay. You can do it repetitively like a habit. You can actually do certain things that allows for the introduction and the fully acceptance of the suggestion. The suggestion can come in various form. It could be verbal, right? It could be environmentally induced. So if you were to see those who are actually working during the industrial period where they actually put the workers to actually work in the factory, doing the same thing again and again and again and again, is an auto suggestion for them to, hey, you can do this again and again and again, and you can achieve intelligence and excellence. That's why you see sometimes if you were to see some TikTok videos or certain advertising videos, just a sharing where some human calculate money or flip through the money notes as they calculate faster and at the same speed as machine. While some people can actually do the testing or to actually do the filtering so fast, like the machine. Okay, so the auto suggestion is being embodied through habits. It's being embodied through repetitive repetition, through many ways of us, repeating something until our subconscious actually embody it. And I truly, truly believe that I have this ability, for example. I truly, truly believe that I'm excellent in this and I can do it. And I truly, truly believe that even if I sleep, I'm so tired consciously, my unconscious mind or my subconscious mind can still do it. Mm. Yeah. So auto suggestion works that way to actually help one to achieve their goal.
So you
Auto
mentioned that
suggestion can,
auto suggestion is not just a pure reading of the words. It's you have to mix emotion or feeling
yes.
with it.
I give you an example. Give you an example. Happy Meal. What do you remember? What comes to your
The
mind?
McDonald's logo,
Just do it.
Nike.
So all of the advertisement and all that, they're auto suggestion. So when you actually anchor on what they actually suggest, you still remember the company or you still remember the brand itself. That's the power of auto suggestion in a very layman term. Why? Oh, I like Happy Meals because when I was young, I got my birthday. My parents bring me to McDonald's, and then Happy Meal. Yeah, that's the emotional part that he's trying to explain. And then, wow, I grew up with this. I got certain emotions, certain memories that actually anchor with it. So I always remember it. And it always repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat, repeat and repeat during the advertisement. And all throughout the advertisement, although it is presented differently, it always mentioned Happy Meal. So you will always resonate with Happy Meal and you always link Happy Meal to McDonald's. Same goes with Nike. Same goes with every other brand. Finger licking good, for example.
It's not only just the words. I feel it's the experience that we went through as a part of our childhood, specifically for McDonald's.
Yeah, and it's not only
And I feel
childhood,
like
sometimes as
Nike
an
for
adult
me
as
is
well.
not a personal experience because I'm not an athlete. I'm not into Nike shoes, but it's because of the market influence. Like, people share to people, people share to people. But emotionally, I'm not really like connected with Nike. It's more of it is catchy enough, it is persistent enough to be remembered compared
Mm,
to McDonald's.
mm-hmm,
So it's not just the words itself, but it was the experience of when we were growing up. Our parents, most parents will bring the kids to McDonald's and enjoy the Happy Meal. And then I
mm.
remember how the Coke feels when it goes down my throat. The nuggets that time was so different. It was better, for sure.
Like
And then
what
there was the
moment?
playground. It was everything, like, even birthday parties. And that actually cemented the uh auto, like, this slogan as part of the auto suggestion growing up.
Mm. And you have anything else you actually highlighted in this chapter?
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
There is no such possibility as something for nothing. The ability to reach and influence your subconscious mind has its price. So it's not always in monetary form, but there's always a price to pay. You
A lot of
cannot
people
cheat
think
even
about
if you
change.
desire to do so. So the price that you pay for the ability to influence your subconscious mind is everlasting persistence. So if you want to do it yourself, you have to be disciplined and persistent enough and clear enough so that you don't self-sabotage, you don't self-limit yourself, you don't block yourself. If you're not, you have to pay for a coach, full stop, or pay for
Mm.
someone to get it done, or help you to, journey together. There's no such thing as a, I can get it for free. Internally you think you can, but ultimately it's either whether you choose to get someone to help you, or you have to do the work individually. But then doing the work individually will actually require longer time, because obviously you can't see your own blind spots. And that's the gist of why I highlighted this paragraph.
If I may talk about something that is free, now I want to bring this up. If one continues to seek something for free, one continues to confirm, and it's an auto suggestion itself, that you're entitled to something that is free and you don't need to work hard for it. And that is self sabotaging. So be very, very careful when somebody giving you something for free. If somebody loves you, like your parents actually loves you and provide for you, know that there's a catch. Your parents wants the best for you. And if they don't see the best for you, they will retaliate. They always use this thing love and all that. Yes, love is true in any other relationship. It could be parent, child, it could be siblings, it could be spouses, it could be partners, it could be anything. But know that every intention do come with a price. But if one who always only seek for free things and feel entitled to them, you realize that you will deplete in self-confidence, you will self-sabotage, and you will continue to feel entitled without taking responsibility uh, uh, to actually live the kind of life and make choices and to do whatever it takes, okay, to go and achieve the kind of life that you want. You always feel entitled and you won't work towards what you need, even. So be careful with free
Yes,
stuff.
because doing whatever it
Very,
takes
very
is a
careful.
really good price to pay.
Yeah, because auto suggestion comes in many forms, and one of the ways that they didn't say it's or they use is like, I don't know, maybe bribery. Is one of it. You may feel entitled to actually accept it, but you come on, things don't come for free. There's always a price, either monetarily or it is either mutual appreciation, because the person wants to express appreciation, and when the person expresses appreciation means that the person values you. And remember, when the person values you, be grateful. But if you feel entitled, that's very dangerous, right? That's very dangerous on the very subconscious level. Mm. So be careful.
It's insidious.
Yeah, it's okay to accept, it's okay to be grateful. Great gratitude actually brings about the resonance and the discipline to actually reflect where you are at in receiving something, in carrying out your life. But if you mindlessly just receive it and feel entitled, please reflect again. It may cause you more harm than you thought, more harm that it may actually derail your entire life and your entire life abundance together into the downstream when significant emotional happens, significant emotional events happen, when depression happen, when accident happen, when something that you cannot resonate with happen, even like middle life crisis. So when things like that happens, you just go down the hill, you just add on. So don't. Okay, whatever that is given to you for free, remember to be grateful for it and know how to be able to also give back. Right? If you continue to take and you're not mindful and you feel entitled, that is very, very dangerous. Now, I can't emphasize more than that because I've seen good people whom when they got this wrong or they subscribe to this so earnestly, when they woke up, the amount of guilt, the amount of stress and regret is exponential, right? But we take little steps to cultivate and to be mindful every day. And we want to be able to be healthy mentally as well, emotionally as well. And these can be done. Okay. Exercise gratitude in your life, exercise reflection of groundedness, appreciation to the blessings that you have. Okay, and that will actually brings you back to equilibrium, that will actually ground you towards the blessings that you're receiving and accepting. Okay, so be very mindful towards that. Live life in appreciation, live life in a manner that you know you're worthy to receive, but you know you're not entitled to fully do it at the expense of others. It's always the law of execution or law of equivalent of exchange that will come about, whether you resonate with it or not, you reckon with it or not. It's the nature. Okay, that's the free will that you can actually exercise for your own good. What else you actually highlighted?
Do not wait for a definite plan through which you intend to exchange service or merchandise in return for the money you're visualizing, but begin at once to see yourself in possession of the money, demanding and expecting. Meanwhile, that your subconscious mind will hand over the plan or plans you need. I didn't specifically highlight this paragraph, but I needed to read it out so that it actually makes sense. Because what I actually highlighted is when the plans appear, they will probably flash into your mind through the sixth sense in the form of an inspiration. This one I
Mm,
can resonate because often I have plenty of this and I'm just, thinking which one it makes sense to put it into action so that I get paid for the solutions that I can deliver. That is very relevant to the work that I'm doing. And um they always say ideas are plenty, right? But only when you actually can put it into a order or a flow or a roadmap that makes sense that people will want, only then will you be paid for it. It's not wishful thinking and it's not delusional. It is really a literal step-by-step process that you will get paid once you manage to solve people's problems or you can do the things that people are willing to part their money with in order to achieve their own desires through you, whatever ideas that you can churn out. And then, it's like a good value exchange, I guess. So this is what I highlighted because um it resonates with what I actually got fascinated by is the infinite intelligence. Because if we were to follow a fixed routine, then what makes us different? And then like how can you stand out? It's like everybody else has already been doing it. And if you cannot do it in a way that is uniquely enough for people to gain the attention, how are you going to continue to deliver the solutions that people want to pay you for? Because money is something that he's talking about actually from the very start.
that's innovation and creativity in the aspect and context of business dynamics. Yeah,
Yeah,
business
yeah.
solutioning was correct. But if for I give an example of an artist like a pianist, a performer, an example of a scientist. They need to have this habit of repetition and this habit of uh, daily discipline to allow them to actually do the execution, even like uh, sportsmen as well. They need to have that discipline to actually continue to practice so that there's progression, right? So it really context uh, driven.
Mm.
Okay, so
And the
find
next
out what
one,
loves, right? What else?
your reasoning faculty may be lazy, and if you depend entirely upon it to serve you, it may disappoint you.
Mm-hmm. That is being explained by what I shared about the gratitude part.
Is it gratitude?
It's the
It's more
mindset.
of a definite plan for carrying out the desire, like the formula of dreaming to reality.
Take the action. Lah.
Yeah, and don't so I highlighted it because it was funny, but at the same time I don't think it is easy to understand because people will always be biased in their own thinking, thinking that they're always right.
Mm,
But in this sentence, he's saying that you don't trust your mind and thinking too much because it will disappoint you.
mm. Yeah, because if you are able to have something, it may not be gratitude, it may be a reflection. Okay, you're not grateful for it, but you reflect it with anger or anything. Any of such reflection allows you to relook at things and not sway to one extreme. Or you like got a headache at it.
I don't understand what you
Give
meant.
me give me a context and reread the sentence again.
Create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once to put this plan in action. So this is what he meant by, having a plan to carry out desire, right? And
Mm,
then he mentioned that you should follow this instruction in the manner described, but
mm,
do not trust your reason when creating a plan for accumulating money through the transmutation of desire. Like, how come this
mm.
comes in?
Because the goal, okay, the amount of money that you set is a destination. The process to which there, it's what's important. And during the process, your mind can come up with a lot of things. You can self-sabotage, you can believe, you can don't believe, you can, question your plans and every other things that can come up. I don't trust that. So in order to be able to balance it out is to do reflection, is to allow yourself the ability to be flexible, to re-look at the feedback and then move along to actually make the adjustment necessary. So it means don't fully trust what you thought it needs to be done in that manner, because whatever that you plan, okay, the little execution milestone towards it, it's based on your understanding, your programming from the past, your historical programming.
Uh,
Until you execute it, you get the results. All right, then you find out, oh, it will become like that, it will actually result to this. All right, but as you conclude that, when especially when emotions comes in, you don't want to trap yourself into that perspective only. You want to be able to open up to see what other perspectives, so that the solutions can come in, the best solutions can come in, so that you can learn the lessons proper and fine tune your steps towards that desired goals. That's what it meant.
okay, so which means you know where you're going, but be open to the ways that can lead you there.
Yes, and be also mindful that sometimes our mind can really trick us and bring us back. It's like
Mm,
when we are stubborn with certain ways, that's where the roadblock happens. Means don't be too
mm.
rigid and too stubborn, but be open to solutioning, be open to other perspective, be open to things that you have not thought of, and you know that it's going to serve after proper investigation, after proper uh, thoughts is being put into it. Okay,
Okay.
that's what it means.
Mm. And then the next paragraph I highlighted is actually the end of this chapter.
I know which one, which I also highlighted. Can you read out and see whether it's the same?
I read.
Yeah, sure.
I believe that close association with one who refuses to compromise with circumstances he or she does not like is an asset that can never be measured in terms of money.
Yeah, correct. In other words, it's telling you be comfortable with uncomfortable, being comfortable with being uncomfortable, to be comfortable with people who are not subscribing to your ideas. It makes you feel uncomfortable. That's all. Because
That's not
people
what I
who,
interpreted as. Okay.
because those actually, those who those who actually feels that, I don't compromise and I continue to be uncomfortable until I reach my goal. That's one way of saying it. As along the way, there are people who's going to be opposite of what I think and they fully subscribe to it. Be open to that as well. Because as they refuse to compromise, as you refuse to compromise with their thoughts and their model of the world, perhaps because they subscribe to it so much, that it is something that you can actually learn from and explore. Okay, because if you compromise, you become very complacent sometimes. You continue to compromise, then you may not reach your goal and you become very complacent towards compromising. Awful. So don't compromise, refuse to compromise. then that will become an asset. Refuse to be complacent, that can become an asset. Refuse to bog down and you know go into relaxed mode over a long period of time, that can happen. That is an asset. Because as we plow through, I give you an example of an athlete, a marathon runner. If they become complacent, I'm okay lah, it's okay lah. 20 km, I only run 10 km this time. Then I run 8 km this time. I run 5 km this time. You forever will not achieve your 20 km. But if you refuse to compromise and you plow through, it's very painful. The muscles is aching already. You're very tired, but you plow through every day working towards that. Your determination, your refusal to compromise is your asset. That's why one day you'll achieve that 20 km marathon milestone, and you may do it difficultly, then become easier and it become easier and become easier and become easier. That's what it means. To me, lah. Your thoughts?
I think put it simply is you are your best friend and you're your own worst enemy.
Sure,
So if you want to achieve something, don't
sure,
compromise. Even though
sure.
other people will tell you otherwise. Plenty
Mm,
of why are you doing this? Plenty of this is not the right way. But if you are already set in the direction that you want to go towards, do not compromise. And you don't
yeah,
have to listen to others. If you have a roadmap, you have an idea of where you want to go, but then you're open to how you're going to get there. I think the gist
yeah.
is that no matter
That's why,
and if regardless of what other people will say.
yeah. That's why I also bring in the part where be cautious, because someone who actually say what they're saying comes very much from their own model of the world. Be able to discern whether their model of the world is actually, who is especially those that contradicts, whether it actually will give you a it actually gives you something or tells you something about your blind spot, or it is something that you will want to acknowledge and then move on towards your own goal, because this person may not have the necessary experience to, and whatever he or she share maybe is out of concern and may not be applicable. All right, so be able to discern what is being shared with us at any point in time. Mm,
Mm,
that's what I meant.
mm. And he did mention read the entire chapter aloud once every night. So if in doubt, go through
Mm,
the chapter again and read it aloud until you become thoroughly convinced that the
yeah,
principle of auto suggestion is sound, that it will
yeah,
accomplish for you all that has been claimed for it. As you read, underscore with a pencil every sentence which impresses you favorably. So then what I did was to highlight it. And
mm,
this specific paragraph, he actually wrote it in capital letters.
yeah, all capital letters. Yeah.
Yeah, all
So
capital letters,
that's
practically
why
shouting it.
I say that this is really brilliant, because what he shared in this book, although money is the goal, is the outcome, but the mindset, the entire knowledge and wisdom that one's need to embody, it's the infinite intelligence of human intelligence. Yeah, simply put. So that's why I really appreciate such books that is thought provoking, and every time you read, it brings about new insights that will allow you to reflect on your life, and they will allow you to actually have a checkpoint or an audit to where you are at. All right. So it's good to read even if you don't understand. Always work towards reading something that you don't understand, because when that happens you actually introduce something that is foreign to your mind, and it actually could be the booster or the multi or the vitamins that your mind needs to keep you uh, active. Mm, keep your mind active, so do that. As much as our body needs exercise, our mind also needs exercise. Reading something that you don't understand and is going to serve you allows you to start the exercise. Yeah. You have to understand also that wisdom comes from knowledge and actions, the execution of it. So knowledge and wisdom are different. Someone who's knowledgeable may not have the or may not necessarily have the wisdom for execution, because wisdom, it's where skillful execution come into place, exercising the knowledge itself, because knowledge is not power. Knowledge is an interim power. Okay, we'll come to that in chapter 4 that we'll cover in the next session. All right, that's all my sharing for today. You have anything to add on?
No, that's all. So chapter 4 is specialized knowledge, which as we mentioned, we'll share in the next week,
Story
right?
Divers
One
next week.
more week, right?
That's right.
Yeah, not 2 weeks, 1 week, the next Friday.
Mm,
So thank you for joining us tonight, and we'll see you the next Friday.
mm.
And stay tuned for the link. And have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Yeah, for those who are not having the night, see you all next week. Have a good day. Good night. Bye.